guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. That's from a guy. He is 23 years old, and he shares his story about events that happened about a year and a half ago when he ended the relationship, the perfect, amazing relationship with his now ex-girlfriend. You're going to see in his story how he describes it, that his relationship with her was really what he felt was pretty great. A lot of fun together, things in common. The sex was amazing, as it always is in these stories. Great looking girl, all that. But something didn't quite add up with her living situation. Something that he picked up on pretty early in the relationship. But because he was having so much fun with her, because again, the sex was so amazing, that always blinds guys, he didn't really dig when he should have. He should have really trusted his gut. But eventually, the truth always comes out. Now, I'm not going to say what's going on, but you guys will find out. See if you can pick up on the clues in his story here. But again, this story here, why you always, when your gut is telling you something's off, no matter how much your second head down there is telling you everything, what to do, listen to your gut. Trust your gut. Do some investigating, because otherwise, you can be made to look like a fool. You get your heart broken, all that, and you have to dig. And nowadays, you know, the first few years of this channel, I used to say, pay attention to red flags. Well, now you got to dig for them. Now you got to look for the red. You got to like intentionally look, not just, that seems suspicious, I'm going to investigate. No, you have to look, given how things are nowadays. And if you don't, it could be a problem. Now, our guy here is pretty tough, and he's doing well, but this all could have been avoided if he'd handled things a little differently. And he's sharing this to help you relationship guys understand what I'm coming from here. So it starts off, says here, hello SSM. I'm writing you to tell my story that's going to give me so many smacks I might turn blue. But I thought I should write this to you as I recently listened to one of your stories submitted about a girl who had lied for months about living with a boyfriend. It might not be good enough to make a video out of, however, I like to tell my story as it's been over a year and I'm in a happy relationship right now. I've always been into RP content, but I don't see myself as hardcore RP since I can see the benefits of both sides. Okay, I got guys of all backgrounds here. Guys that they literally could have the hottest girls known to man show up at the door wanting to have sex, and guys would tell them to take a hike, to guys that are full-on relationship guys, to, I got all kinds of guys that watch this. So this will be beneficial. And if you're a relationship guy, but you have this knowledge just to protect yourself, great. No problem. I was raised by a single MOM with 3 kids. I am the youngest. I do have an older brother, but let's just say that he's a late bloomer and I had to learn everything about women on my own. My sister and mother were very honest about women and led me down the right path and brought me to the arms of RP nature without even realizing it. Now, that's interesting. It's kind of surprising your mom didn't raise you to be the perfect little gentleman to treat women like they're, the queen, all little queens of Sheba or something, and to be respectful and blah, 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 and give you horrible advice. So I'm glad your mom and your sister, they're rare. I wouldn't take everything they say as scripture, but believe me, I've known gals that definitely gave elements of truth, but they never get the full thing. It's always best to take advice about this stuff from men. Anyway, even though I can tell you insane stories you wouldn't believe that I've been in, today I'm going to tell you about my previous relationship. Me, a 23-year-old male, recently got out of a toxic relationship around March of 2022. I decided to hang out with my buddies, forget about relationships, and focus on my career. I've had a couple of flings and hookups over the years between relationships, but I consider myself a relationship guy. I can hold a conversation and enjoy my time with anybody with a decent personality, so talking with women has never been a problem. Well, good. This is why I tell you guys, practice talking to people. If you're shy, you're introvert, you can be introvert. I'm an introvert. I want to be left the fuck alone most of the time, but I can talk to anybody. I have the ability. It's not hard to strike up conversations. And that's a good skill to have, guys, particularly in business. For you guys that are trying to start a business, make something yourself, and it does help with women. Nevertheless, up until the last half of that summer, I had a rotation of gals that I met in school and on social media, and I was having a great time. I bet you were, my man. That's when I messaged this 20-year-old female, let's call her Caitlyn, on Instagram. We texted and called that same night, and the very next day, I arranged to meet up. I picked her from a location I decided, and then used my favorite line to get her into my apartment. So, you said you found her on Instagram. Was this someone you were acquainted with who was following you, or you were following her? Or was this some chick that just popped up that you thought was pretty, that was in your city, and you just messaged? I mean, that's impressive if that was the case. You got this girl, but still. And you're going to hook up with her within 24 hours. I mean, good for you. Have fun. But that ain't girlfriend material. It was just a regular day meeting a girl, but to my surprise, we ended up having a fun day and shared so many laughs together. We eventually got into the deed, which after I'd usually bring her home or give transportation, but it seems likely we barely talked, and it was already midnight. You stud. She asked me to meet her friend after work the next day to have lunch, and I agreed. Smack. Why the hell are you meeting her friends? And by the way, you hooked up with her on the same day. That's what I'm getting out of this. This ain't girlfriend material. Nope. We both woke up. She left for work, as did I, and afterwards we met up with her friend and had lunch. Everything went well, and it seemed fast but good. After that, she'd been sleeping over at my apartment 3 to 4 days a week. After about 2 weeks, I cut my rotation as she wanted to be monogamous, and I agreed. So she jumped in with both feet. Oh, and I did forget to mention that she told me she lived with a female roommate and doesn't like being on the phone after 11 p.m. as it would bother the roommate since it was a studio apartment. What is this? Who's her roommate? Her mom? It's like when you're a kid and your parents say you can't talk on the phone past 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. This is a little strange. She told me that they slept in 2 separate beds, and after a couple arguments and questioning her as I had a gut feeling something was off, I brushed it off as everything was going so well and she slept over so often. So your girlfriend's in a studio apartment with 2 separate beds and you can't talk on the phone past 11, and immediately his gut's saying, this is something a little strange here. This is when you start investigating. But he says here, I brushed it off as everything was going so well and she slept over so often. Translation, I'm loving the pussy. That's what it is. So I don't want to rock the boat here. My 3 to 4 times a week she's over here and getting this amazing, you know what? See? That's what I'm talking about. I questioned to see or meet the roommate, but she claimed her roommate was mean, didn't like her, and was a slob. So she was waiting for the lease to end to move out. You met her friend. You get done. The first date, she's back at your apartment, and you get done plowing her, probably for the 16th time, you young guys with the energy that you have. And then she's like, oh, do you want to meet my friend the next day for lunch? But you can't meet this girl's roommate. She's not your girlfriend. That's weird. This topic would come up for a month or two, and then I finally let it go since everything was going so well. Translation, the SEX was going so well. We barely fought, and the SEX was amazing. Yeah, we got that, my friend. Caitlyn was hot. Caitlyn was great in the sack. I get it. We didn't split everything 50-50. However, when I took her on a date, she would take me on a date. One time you'd pay, one time she'd pay. We bought each other nice things, went to nice places, and continued to make each other laugh and smile. It felt like a partnership. She even met my family, and I met her crazy family, and they loved me. We both had decent jobs for our age and definitely spoiled each other. This only made me feel more secure and give up slowly. It slowly took away the red flags. So you can see here he's having a great time with her. Aside from the SEX, which is clearly a highlight of this whole relationship here, they're having fun, they're doing things. He likes her family, she likes his, even though he says her family is crazy. And I like to know what the definition of crazy. Loud and all that, or actually nuts. But I think he just means loud. Anyhow, he says here, in the middle of November 2021, she finally let me see her place for the first time. And it was just how she showed me on FaceTime when we talked. I saw a couple of bras lying around, 2 beds. One was a couch bed, and it didn't seem like anything suspicious was happening. We went up to the rooftop of the building and spent the rest of the time there. This made me completely throw out all the red flags and guy feelings I had about the roommate situation. And yet, you still haven't met this roommate. 2 weeks later, I wanted to go back, and she reluctantly agreed. For context, this entire time she's been sleeping over my apartment 4 to 5 times a week, most of those days back to back. We don't argue or fight much, and we both spend and do things with each other. If she's at your apartment 4 to 5 times a week, she ought to be chipping in for the fucking rent, man, and the electric bill and other things like that. But let me guess, she was paying in other ways. Well, now we were inside her apartment for the second time, laughing and seemingly in love, when the smile left her face. We were sitting at her dining room table, and she told me she wanted to let me know something. Oh gee, what? I asked her what it was to let me know what was on her mind. She explained to me that she lied to me about her roommate, and that it was her ex-boyfriend that she met in high school to get away from her crazy family, and they moved in together. So if you guys were thinking she was A, living with a guy, and B, it was a boyfriend, you can get a star next to your name today. The whole time she's lying to him about she's living with an ex-boyfriend. What do you want to bet whenever she was having a bad day at work or something like that, she poured a glass of wine and would tell him about her thing, and next thing you know, she's sucking his dick. Seriously, goodbye. Relationship's over with. I don't want to hear the crying. I don't want to hear the excuses. See, guys, red flags. But he was blinded by the pee. She told me she couldn't speak on the phone after 11 p.m. is because that's when he would get home from work, and the lie of a girl would be over. But she doesn't have a problem if we were on the phone now, since I know everything. Yeah, well, I have a problem being with you after you lied to me all this time, and the fact that you could have been having relations with both of us. I didn't speak a word. I absorbed it all. When she was done, I stood up and walked out without saying a word and walked out of her apartment. The most powerful thing a guy can do, walk away. And I might add, silence. She ran after me crying to the elevator, but I pushed her off and left. I drove home angry and disappointed. I couldn't believe that I couldn't see the signs and didn't trust my gut. Yeah, but you did see signs, and your gut was telling you something, but you were so, again, blinded by the pee. See, guys? I've done stupid shit like this when I was younger, guys. I get it. But still, I share these stories to help. I didn't cry. I just moved on and had a previous fling of mine come over that night, and I felt horrible about it. I still like this girl, and what she explained made sense, even though what she did was horrible to me. She's right. I would have automatically put her in the rotation regardless of how our day went if she told me the truth about her living with an ex. I didn't respond to the hundreds of calls and texts for the next couple of days until I felt like I got over completely and allowed her to speak again. Why? She's going to cry and do the waterworks, and I'm so sorry, and all those things I tell you about in the Hobag Handbook. Trust me. She did this to get away from her crazy family. Well, again, is her family just loud and annoying, or they're actually like a toxic, negative, hurtful, harmful environment? I'm thinking they're, because he said he met them, he liked them, so you know what I mean? No, she's been lying all this time, and I have a very hard time believing that other things weren't going on. If she's lying about that, what other things she's lying about here? I don't care how much fun you're having. Guess what? I've done plenty of stories about guys I thought they had amazing relationships to find out she's nailing 3 dudes. No, don't listen to the freaking bullshit. Anyhow, she told me she wishes she could have been perfect for me, and she wanted to move out as soon as her lease was up in a couple months, and maybe we could continue the relationship when she moves out. No. I told her I can't be with a liar, so that won't be happening. She wanted to see me one last time, and I agreed. Smack! Dude, no. This is what's going to happen. She's going to cry and beg and pull your clothes off and give you the best SCX ever and then make you do more stupid shit. We end up having SCX regularly, what I just tell you, until January when I slowly, gradually spoke to her less and less. Dude, hang on. Smack! What happened out of a moment of desperation? She decided to poke a hole in one of your condoms. Or you threw the condom wrapper, your condom in the freaking wastebasket, and she's like, oop, shove it down here to get pregnant to keep you in her life. Really? This goes back to, did her hoo-ha smell like Skittles? Was she the best ever that you just could not stop going back to her for the SEX? Jesus H. Christ, my friend. Bad idea. Anyway, she gifted me a PlayStation 5 for Christmas. Thank you for that. But I could never be with someone who lied to me for so long, and I didn't care if she told me the truth. Honestly, she could have kept it up and moved out, and I probably would have never guessed it. We were in such a good place, and it seemed there was only more good things that could have come to my eyes. Yeah, but it was all built on lies, on bullshit. And again, I mean, I've lived long enough and done enough of these stories that I just don't believe that other things are going on with the ex. I don't believe it. And the lies and all this, come on here. What else was she not telling you? To my knowledge, I'd never been cheated on before. This would have been the first time to my knowledge of something like this being so clear a possibility of happening, and if it wasn't for my own strong will, strong family, and content like yours, I wouldn't be as desensitized to this crap like this and probably would have stayed like some of the blue pillars. Yeah, a lot of guys would have listened to the waterwork. She would have moved out, or she would have moved in with them and cried and pleaded, and that would have been that. And yeah, you would have taken her back, but you didn't, so good for you. Maybe she did love, but once you cross a boundary with me, you can never regain it back. I honestly feel bad for her as she is hindered because of her situation. She is young, and I can see how something like this is very difficult to get out of. Smack! Stop feeling bad for her. She's a grown-ass adult. She made a choice, and that's it. A few months later, after another rotation, I met my current girlfriend, and we were happy so far. And Caitlyn actually came back 2 months ago and almost ended our relationship. Had my current girlfriend's family against me, but that's a whole entire story in itself. So, looks like Caitlyn wasn't so nice after all, my friend, as if she showed up in your life. I told you they always come back. And she tried to obviously screw up your current relationship. Obviously, what you said here, something with your girlfriend's family. Probably made up a whole bunch of lies. Yeah, does she seem so nice now? Right? Before I complete this monologue, I want people to know that seeking validation for anything outside your own hard work and dedication is a losing battle. I've been in low places in my life, but I have family and friends I can rely on to be on my side. Growing up with this kind of foundation allowed me to view the world in an objective way. It made me open-minded but balanced with my moral values. I know and I hope this story will find you all well. Also, I hope to God Caitlyn didn't sleep with that guy and me at the same time. I'm afraid, my friend, over that period of time you're with her, I can't rule it out. And it'd been one thing if you ended the story with her I'm sorry's and everything like that. But the fact that you ended it with saying that you now have a new girlfriend, you got a good thing going, and Caitlyn came back and tried to screw it up and said something obviously to her family to cause conflict, that's it. She's fucking full of shit. She's trash. End of story. Lied to you the whole time. I guarantee you something was going on. And even if it wasn't, she was still lying to you. And then you get my point. But I'm glad you drew the line in the sand and had the self-respect. Because a lot of guys would not do that. Because a lot of guys would be so in love and would buy into the waterworks, all the things from the Hobag handbook, and would take her back. And then she'd really lose respect for you and would cheat and would lie and would manipulate. You know what I mean? So I'm sure it was hard. But then again, let's go back again to the red flags from the get-go. Can't talk on the phone after 11. Never wants you to go see her apartment. Never wants you to meet her roommate. These are all suspicious things. And your gut told you, you know it, told you something was off. You got to trust your gut, gentlemen. You need to investigate. Otherwise, and for God's sakes, stop letting yourself be blinded by the pee. I've been there, done that, and I know it doesn't end well. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, you got a really good story you want to share with me, you want me to share on this channel, email me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it because I get tons of these all the time, and I definitely will if it's a good one. And also, guys, if you haven't done so already, sign up for my other channels. YouTube isn't exactly promoting me these days as other channels like mine, so I really can count on you guys to subscribe to my other channels, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your FedEx driver, anybody that'd be interested in this content, spread the word to help this thing going. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.